All right, so this week's lesson we're doing stuff on patterns in algebra, and we're learning to identify and continue patterns, number patterns mainly. And you'll see that it says in the Year 5 one that we're going to identify how to find the rule of a number pattern, and continue number patterns with fractions and decimals, and to test that your rule is to ensure that it's correct. And Year 6 we're going to continue number patterns with fractions with different denominators and how that's going to work. And to use your rule to find the 5th, the 100th, the 10th number in the pattern. Now I'm telling you that we're not going to get all that done in this lesson. This video is going to be probably broken up into maybe 3, 4, 5 different videos, so we'll see how that goes. And if you dislike the start of this video where you have to actually look at me for about a minute, then let me know, and I'll make sure that I'm not in any more videos from now on. This will be the last time you see me through this video as well. So let's get on with it. Okay, so when we're continuing a simple pattern, the main thing I want to start off with is to identify the rule and whether you're specific about the rule, okay? So when we're doing stuff like this, I want you to make sure, before we do anything, just to make sure that there's no mistakes, I want you to go through a pattern, unless it's super easy like the top one, but I want you to get into the habit of seeing how much, right above it, how much it goes up by. That one, 4 to 6, then it goes up by 2, goes up by 2. Because sometimes what you'll find is you think it's happening the same pattern, but you've got to check it every time. And I'm telling you, that's the number one place where we start to fall down, is that we don't check to make sure we're right. We think we've got an answer, and we write it down, and we don't come back and check. So you can see quite clearly here that there is a simple rule coming through, which is that it's increasing by 2 each time. So you'll know the next one is 12, 14, 16, 18. Now there's two ways of writing the rule. You could write plus 2, or you can write increasing by 2. Either one would be fine. I'm not really fazed by it. I would prefer that one over the other one, but you know, that doesn't really matter. I'm sure they would understand if you wrote plus 2. Now, once again, from 7 to 17, we can see here that there's a plus 10 here. From 17 to 27, it goes up by 10, goes up by 10. So obviously it's going to be 47, 57, 67. All I'm trying to do here is to show you that you need to be writing above it how much it's going up by to test, because later on it's not going to be as simple. It may look simple, but it's not going to be as easy. So with here, from 50 to 45, that's going back 5. From 45 to 40, that's going back 5. From 40 to 35, that's going back, decreasing by 5. So we know that the rule is decreasing by 5, so it's either minus 5 or decreasing by 5. Now I put them in deliberately as easy ones just to show you how I want you to write on top of it. So let's have a look at the more complicated ones on top here. Okay, so from 2 to 4, that goes up by 2. Then from 4 to 8, that goes up by 4. From 8 to 16, that one goes up by 8. From 16 to 32, that one goes up by 16. Now I know halfway through that pattern you probably thought you knew what was happening. Please don't make any judgments until you've seen what you've written down. Okay, because you don't know if that pattern is what you actually thought it was going to be. Now we can look back and go, went up by 2, up by 4, up by 8, up by 16. They're obviously doubling each time. Okay, so it's either so then the next one would be 64. So there's two ways of writing that rule. Okay, either you could write that the number's doubling each time, or you can write the rule is that it's times by 2. Each time it times by 2, so 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32, and that way. So once again, both of those rules would make sense. Okay, let's write the next one, see if this one makes any sense. The first one goes up by 6. The next one goes up by, what's that, 18. And the next one goes up by, we're going to have to write this one down, 81, take away 27, if you want to do it like that. No, I'm just going to do it in my head. I don't need that. 61, 50, 54. Goes up by 54. We might have to come back by that one. So if we tried, well, let's try this. Let's say, that doesn't really make sense. Let's say it might be a multiplication one. 3 times what would be 9? What if it was times 3? What would 9 times 3 be? Oh, 27. There you go. And 27 times 3 Well, we don't know that that would be 81, but let's check to make sure that's right, because we don't want to just have a guess. 21, there's a 2 there. 3 times 2 is 6, plus that is 81. Okay, so the rule must be that each number is being multiplied by 3. Now, some things don't look that easy, okay? But just think about that there could be a combination of multiplication, could be division, could be subtraction, or it could be addition. Okay, so always be checking that out. Let's have a look at the last one. 98 to 48. 96, take away 48. That actually goes down. I can do that in my head. That goes down by 48. Now I know the next one here, 28 take away 48 take away 24. That one goes down by 24. 24 take away 12. I know that goes down by 12. 12 take away 6. I know that one goes down by 6. And 6 to 3. That one goes down by 3. Now let's see if there's a pattern. 48, 24, 12, 6, 3. I think they're halving each time, aren't they? Half of 96, 48. Half of 48 is 24. So you could either write halving. But I don't think halving would be what they would have actually asked for. I think they would have wanted to say that each number is getting divided by 2. So sometimes you really need to study a little bit harder, but I'm just telling you that I want to see you writing down above each of them how much they're increasing or decreasing by to make sure that your rule is correct, okay? Sometimes you have a two-step pattern, and with a two-step pattern, there's two things going on. Okay, so an example might be plus 4, take away 3, so it could be 4, and then take away 3 would be 1. And then if you plus 4, it would be 5, and then if you take away 3, it would be 2. And then if you plus 4, it would be 6, and if you took away 3, it would be 3. So it looks a bit confusing, okay, but there's two steps going on. You only figure those out if you're writing down what's happening. So let's have a look. 2 to 4, that one goes up by 2. And then 4 to 3, that goes back by 1. 3 to 5, that one went up by 2. 5 to 4, that one went back by 1. 4 to 6, that one went up by 2. You probably think you know what's going on, but let's make sure that we finish this off. 6 to 5, that's going down by 1. 5 to 7, up by 2. 7 to 6, down by 1. 6 to 8, up by 2. So we can see here the two-step pattern. Plus 2, take away 1, plus 2, take away 1, plus 2, take away 1, plus 2, take away 1. We want to make sure that that was going to be the right. So my rule, two-step pattern would be plus 2, take away 1. That means that someone who's coming in, if they knew that was the rule, they could continue that pattern on. Let's have a look with this one. Okay, 1 to 10, that goes up by 9. 10 to 5, that one goes down by 5. 5 to 50, that one went up by 45. 50 to 5, that one went up by 5, down by 5. 50 to 45 to 450 went up by 405. Okay. So it's very clear that one of these two steps is to take away 5. The first one, I don't think plus 9, plus 45, and plus 405 make any sense. So let's have a look at what else could be going on here. Okay, so if it was multiplication, not plus, as it can't be plus because they're not linked, let's try multiplication. 1 times what equals 10? Well, it's 10, so let's try that. Okay, times 10, and then 5 times 10 would be 50. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's try one more. 45 times 10 equals 450. Okay, so the rule would be times 10, take away 5. So if your addition doesn't actually solve any pattern because it doesn't make any sense, then try something else. See if it would be a multiplication one instead. All right, let's try the last one. Okay, so from 4 to 20 goes up by 16. And then from 20 to 10 goes back by 10. From 10 to 50 goes up by 40. From 50 to 25 goes down by 25. From 25 to 125 goes up by 100. So plus 16 minus 10 plus 40 minus 25 plus 100. Obviously, addition and subtraction are out. It has to be multiplication, division, because there's no pattern there with addition and subtraction. So let's see. From 4 to 20, if we're doing multiplication, 4 times what equals 20? 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so let's try on the premise that this first one could be times 5. And from 20 to 10, well, what would be division would make sense there? Well, 20 divided by 2 would be 10. So let's try that. Let's try times 5 divided by 2. Okay, so 10 times 5 equals 50. Makes sense. And then 50 divided by 2 equals 25. Let's try the last one. 25 times 5 is 125. Yep, checks out. So it's times 5 divided by 2. So remember, it's always important to firstly write how much addition, like how much it's going up and down by. And if there's not a clear pattern like the top one, then it's going to have to be maybe that there's a division or a multiplication element in that. Okay? So these patterns are just a fun one to try because you might not be able to do these. These ones don't really apply to any of those rules and they are difficult, so please don't be upset if you don't understand them. So let's see if we could figure it out. Okay, this one goes up by 1, then it goes up 2 to 4, that's plus 2. From 4 to 7, that's plus 3. From 7 to 11, that's plus 4. I think I know what's going on here. 11 to 16, that's plus 5. 16 to 22, plus 6. We're going to make sure that that's working. Plus 7, and add 8, add 9, add 10. So the rule is always increasing. Well, not increasing by 1, it's increasing by 1 more. So the next number after that, if it's plus 10 here, would be plus 11, which would be 56 plus 11, would be 67 would be the next one. All right, that one actually wasn't too hard, but let's try this one. Okay, up by 1, awesome. Up by 1, up by 2, up by 3, up by 5, up by 8, and up by 13. There's not really any clear thing here, and it's not a multiplication going on. I just threw this one in actually to show you that some of them won't apply, but that's really confusing and don't need to do it. Basically, it's if you plus these two numbers together, you would get 3. And then if you plus these, the 2 and the 3 together, you would get 5. And if you plus the 5 and the 3 together, you get 8. And if you plus the 8 and the 5 together, you get 13. And then plus these 2 to get that one, and plus these 2 to get that one. So the next one would be 34 plus 21. The answer would be 55. It's not really necessary, but I put it in there anyway. So just remember, the one thing I want you to do is constantly be writing up on here how much each of these is going up by or down by. And then if there's not a clear pattern, check to see whether it's a multiplication or a division one, and make sure you're writing down the rule and you're checking the rule. Please test the rule and don't just have a guess, or don't just think that you know what the pattern is without checking to make sure that it works and it's tested to make sure it makes sense. All right, I hope that's been helpful. There'll be a further pattern video coming very shortly.